The Russians are coming. The Russians are coming.
The comedic film entertained us and possibly caricatured at what might really happen, hinting at Wolofit's prediction. An ex-African diplomat on WION News found this theory dominated US thinking. History shows Russia went worldwide competing for resources, helping developing countries and even the non-aligned ones with transfers of technology appropriate to their needs, training, service contracts, reliably and satisfactorily accomplished. Asian and some South American countries developed faster. The threat seems to be a fear of erosion of the dominance of the United States. Russia is one of the richest cultures on earth, integrating music, dance, theater, literature, poetry, science and technology that shows the genius of that people. Physicists taught relativity theory from textbooks that combined Lorentz and Poincare's equations and theories long before anyone in the West. Physicians like Dr. Kirlian, who passed electricity through his wife and his body to map its auras, give us our scanning machines, and they died from these experiments. Rocketeering whiz Korolev, who pioneered not only space launches but their hard landings before the West. Western academics inform me that most Western countries see these areas, that is science and technology, in decay and rely on Easterners for talent. Paul Robeson, distinguished Harvard law graduate. Well, not only that, All-American football star. Not only that, one of the greatest operatic bass baritons. Not only that, the greatest Shakespearean Othello. Embraced Russian citizenship in Stalin's time because of the humanity and the talent of the people. He said he finally felt like a human being among these people and was opened to experience their rich culture. He was a practicing church-going Christian, but labeled a commie by the West. Others followed, though the language is not easy to learn. Steven Seagal, action hero, martial arts expert, Servant Dan, black belt, instructor, actor and celebrity, embraced Russian citizenship in Putin's time as he felt more comfortable with the Russian culture, talent and humanity. Others who have gone over quietly say they enjoy the culture and the people, though they be detached and serious. America and others have to look beyond Western media caricatures of politicians, rhetoric and posturing like these celebrities have done in order to enjoy the Russian people and their rich culture. Steven Seagal was a friend of the Dalai Lama and became a friend of the Russian leaders. Western scientists published in magazines like Popular Mechanics that Russian military technology did not keep pace with the West, and a perceived threat was from politicians. This did not deter Western rhetoric of the threat from communism, which was doomed to failure from flawed theory and structure. Russians competed for resources worldwide along with the West, example in Singapore, and welcome trade partners for all these countries. Asian and South American countries welcome Russian, Chinese, as well as European and American investors. The difference was in poorer countries, they donated appropriate technology. The Russians donated technology that was appropriate for their needs. Those that were needed for productions that were needed in the country, creating a reputation of integrity and reliability in these countries, who welcomed Western partners too. No, the Russians did not come, but they went abroad. Peter Drucker, US business philosopher, commented that the Russian structure was not communist because it can't be. The Russian hierarchical structure of governance does not lend to communism. It has to be a more practical management structure with less bureaucracy. He predicted communism will fail, and indeed it did, along with socialism. In his books, The Effective Executive and Concept of the Corporation, he addresses these things. Inspired and mentored by Marxist Lee Kuan Yew and the Singapore model, the bamboo curtain, that is China, and others adopted centrally planned capitalism that has worked better than the laissez-faire capitalism of the West, where the gap between the rich and the poor has been ever increasing. Archbishop Fulton Sheen spoke on the power of the Russian Orthodox Church. He found that over 90% of Russians belong to the Russian Orthodox Church, and they fought against atheism and Hitler within Germany. And he published this in his book Life is Worth Living, 1952. Documentaries and living witnesses attest to how they won the war by breaking the back of Hitler in Germany, by losing over 20 million of their soldiers there. John Mearsheimer and Vladimir Posner, who are from the US, and John White of London remind us that the Russian Orthodox Church overthrew the Tsars in the Bolshevik Revolution to herald in social justice. One may ask, how many countries show social justice at the Russian level? How many countries protect their own abroad like the Russians? Yanis Varoufakis, the former finance minister of Greece, in an interview with TVO Canada in April, said that the US diffuses the perceived Russian threat by weakening her and bringing her to her knees in the 1990s. Yeltsin destroyed the Russian Federation, and so the oligarchs arise. Putin emerges suffering through all this and asks for US cooperation to build Russia with no success. He then asks America and the West for NATO membership. He is told no. He then strategizes with what is left and brings Russia out of a bad situation.
Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield, America's military arsenal, who is threatening who, is the theme of a presentation they made at St. Ambrose University around 2006. From ice cream to funding research on the supply of US weapons. Their presentation had this focal point: American stockpile is 5 times more than they need to strike all the countries of the world into oblivion and still remain safe. The technology has advanced beyond the 5th generation at that time, so that earlier generations like the stealth bombers lay parked and unused. Why? Defense contracts provide lucrative commissions for politicians and big wigs in the forces. But how much is enough when you have so much unused and deteriorating weaponry? The winners in wars are easily the arms merchants.
My Russian students in North America easily top the class with their impeccable presentations, answer scripts, and discipline. Russian professionals I interfaced with were consummate. All seem to have a natural talent in the maths and sciences, something very few countries can boast of, and it was a pleasure dealing with them. The ladies were less detached or serious. Those who were thinking of emigrating from Russia were late in their careers, looking for more money and freedom from bureaucracy. Asian, Latin American and African countries with proven talents in the maths and sciences will presumably continue to cultivate their friendship with the Russians. Russian talent in all fields enrich internationally. Democracy has failed while the rich-poor gap is ever widening, causing rises in criminality, ill health and a weakening labor force. Centrally planned capitalism, Singapore style, has worked for China, Cuba, and is starting to work for Russia. And if the quality of authority is good, it will trump a waning efficacy of the Westminster model as seen in the UK and its former colonies. Though India, thanks to the vision and strategy of Narasimha Rao, is finally improving in this respect, in contrast with the US. You don't have to be a fan of a leader to love or respect his or her people for their potential. Behind closed doors, bereft of the rhetoric, threats and grandstanding, it takes average intelligence to calm down and negotiate to mutual benefits. But power and greed are the obstacles. Dr. Konrad Adenauer, you gave your eldest, who became a good priest, but we also need a good, benevolent dictator like you. The benevolent dictator of Germany, Dr. Konrad Adenauer.